Welcome everyone. Today is August 6th. I have to look over my calendar because even though I knew it, I wanted to double check to make sure. August 6th, Thursday, and this is our Unity Forum. This is the day of the week that we dedicate to our Unity, to checking in with various members of our community, these are staff, family members, board members, community members, people that that we otherwise wouldn't have a chance to see because of this pandemic and because of the restrictions placed upon our movement, and just taking care of our good health. We just have a chance. We don't have the opportunity we once did to see all of our friends and to see how people are doing. With me today is who's kind of behind the scenes and helping out in Greg Morris's absence is Kevin Tucker, who oversees all of our technology and computer stuff, all that stuff that we need but don't understand, and Brett Riley, who's also assisting. So thanks to both of them, and we're going to have a wonderful, wonderful broadcast today. I've got three special NuPath employees that are going to be joining me, and I've asked them today because these three people all of them have been in the programs as we've begun to open this week, and our home office and day program in Woburn and also up in Westford. And we want to check in with them and see how are things going during this first week back, and what are people saying, how are the restrictions working out, and all of that. So without further ado, I'm going to ask Kevin to bring our first guest up. This is Jennifer Brophy, who is the rehab manager at New Boston Street and Passport Studios. Jen there she is.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. So I want you to know I got the idea for today's kind of theme, if you will. When I saw you on Monday, you were coming down the stairs. I don't know if you remember, and you were rushing to something. And I said, oh my God, I haven't seen you for so long. And it was so nice to see you again. And I thought, oh, I'd like to talk to her. And she'd probably be somebody great to talk to, because you're out there probably, in the front lines welcoming people back. And you always kind of, you're a rehab manager now, but you've been one of these people that's been a kind of a lead, a lead staff in so many ways on the floor. You're the go-to person in so many ways. You know what's going on. Families know you. They call you. You're a problem solver. All the people that come here each and every day. And it's no surprise because you've been with us now for 13 years.
Yes.
That surprised you at all? 13 years? I don't know where time's gone, because it's
been a long time.
It's been a long time. And you've been you're very well known because you've been so active in all of our fundraising activity. And as I'm prone to do, I'm looking at your membership in Club 50 now in 2017, 2018, 2019, raising well over $5,000 for NuPath. Yay! That's a lot of money. Were you always a fundraiser? Did you have experiences of fundraising before, wherever you were? Or?
Just with mostly the schools, my kids' schools.
Yeah. Well, you're good at it, and you're not afraid to ask for money, apparently. Now, you say your kids' schools. People might be surprised to know that you have a 21-year-old daughter.
I do. She just turned 21, actually, July 23rd.
Wow. Was she able to get out to a bar? Isn't that what kids usually do on their
Unfortunately, we did go to dinner outdoors. But
you did, yeah. And you've got a fifth grader, which is how old? That's like 7? 10. And then twins, second graders.
Yes.
So you, when it comes to being a mom and trying to keep track of a lot of things and staying organized on top of it, you probably about as good experience as anyone.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what makes you so good at your job.
Yeah.
Probably.
Very organized.
Jen, talk to us. You've been with us for so long now. You've seen NuPath in all kinds of iterations. You were here when we were still a sheltered workshop then, probably, right? For 13, it's been 13 years?
Yes.
So you saw the transformation of when we went to this big sort of industrial manufacturing, sort of space in the back to now how we have the different studios, and we completely changed our entire kind of approach to providing services for people, where they were able to, instead of just staying at one table their whole day, they would, spend time in the art studio, the whole life planning studio, and the cafe. And now COVID. Talk to us about how different things have been for you now, seeing this, just this pandemic and everything you've done during it. Like, maybe we'll come back to that, but as you saw people coming back on Monday, did it seem like surreal just to see like how few people were coming in? And talk to us about what the day was like, and what that moment was like when you saw the first clients coming in.
It went actually really smoothly.
Yeah.
There was a kind of trying to figure it all out, but we did good. Everybody was excited to be back. They've continued to come back since Monday, and they're still smiling.
They are.
It was definitely different, between wearing the masks and having to do the sanitizing everywhere. It's different, but we're getting by. It's been good.
Usually when somebody said something was different, it sounds like it wasn't that great.
No, it was good. It actually wasn't bad. It's just
It
it's
wasn't.
different than what we're used to.
Of course it is. Of course it is. I mean, usually, if you've ever been here in the morning, and anybody who's, any family member that's ever arrived to, drop somebody off or something in the morning, it is a ridiculous, crazy time. I mean, the vans stretch all the way down the street, around the block, like, as they're coming to drop people off or pick people up. And, you've got as many people, typically as many people would get out of one vehicle as we had in the entire building during the course of the day. Is that right? On Monday, like pretty much at 14 people or something?
It was 14, and it didn't look as bad as it does when the vans are here, but it went pretty smoothly. Everyone did what they were supposed to. The process went fairly quickly.
Now, these are families that mostly were bringing their kids in themselves. Is that right?
Yes.
So these were mothers, fathers. What did they have to say when they did they stay in their car, and you went and greeted the kid and brought them in, or how did it work?
They did stay in their car. We did say hello from the window, socially distancing, and then we took their loved one out of the vehicle and brought them to the tent, and that's where they proceeded to do the check-in. But they all seemed to be pretty positive sending them in.
Now, was mostly mothers probably? I don't know why I assume that. I just feel like mothers are usually the ones that they do love.
Yeah, there's a lot of mothers.
Yeah, a lot of mothers. So, I mean, were they like, did you get like, oh, please take care of him, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing, or did you get, oh, thank God you guys are opening? What was the response?
I think it was pretty 50-50. I had one mom ask if I was going to be here when she brought her daughter in, and I said yes. So she said, good, then I'll drop her off. She was pretty happy. And then I had some who said, back in February, saying that they would send them in right away, or March.
Yeah.
I've had a few moms
even before the pandemic.
Yes, they've been asking.
Yeah. So they're people that probably just it's hard for so many of our families to have their kids at home, because they're working, they're doing other things, and even if they're working from home, it's so hard to do if you've got somebody else kind of, well, you probably know what that's like with 4 kids, I would think.
Yeah, and a lot of them were wanting to come back.
Now you've been, during the past, whatever, since March, since this whole thing began, talk to us about how your role changed then. I mean, because you went to, I assume you were doing some of the wellness calls, involved in some of the virtual programming. Tell us how your position changed, or maybe with your job, maybe being a rehab manager. I know that team has been so busy with trying to, bring records up to date, ensuring that the goals were met, the changing, sort of environments, due to COVID. What's it been like for you the past 3 months?
It's been busy.
Yeah.
We had to amend all of the goals, still doing ISPs virtually, doing a lot of triage calls, calling families, doing the virtual programming, helping out with residential staffing.
Yeah. So how many records are you responsible for here? I think people might be surprised to learn just how many, people you oversee, like from your rehab, like, sort of position, case management position.
Well, day hub, I have about 32, And then
Yeah.
DDS, it's probably another 30 or 40 books that we are taking care of. Those, I do all
So
the
you're talking, pushing like 80 records or something like that. And these are all people that they may have multiple goals, and and every one of them needs a meeting every year, and you've got to be up to speed on what's going on with that. And that's a
Yeah.
lot. That's a lot. So I know that what we've been doing is we've been asking people, supervisors, to kind of give us a little write up, just a little bio about some of the information. And I know Mike Edwards says that he could absolutely not do his job without you. Is how he started out his thing, and I believe that's probably true, because I know that when you're here, you don't stop for a second, and you're always running from one thing to the next. What that mother said to you about if you were here, how did that make you feel? If you were here, she would drop her daughter off. I mean,
It felt good because I've worked with her for 13 years. So the fact that she trusted us, and she was going based on, not what was going on in the world, but which staff were going to be here taking care of her daughter, meant more.
well, you said she trusted us, which is a very generous way to say it, but she trusted you. Isn't that right?
Yes, but I think she also trusts the organization as a whole too.
Jen, I've said this so many times that when family members out there are thinking about where their son or daughter spends the day, or if they're thinking about whether they're satisfied or not, they're not thinking about Dan Harris as CEO. I mean, because I have very little, they don't see me. They are thinking about the staff that are going to be working with them. And I just try to impress that upon people, how important, the staff role is in bringing a level of confidence and, comfort and security, especially now during these times of COVID, because it's this unseen, terrifying, kind of invisible force that we kind of, sort of touched us because we have lost people, but yet many of us don't even have anybody in our families that have gotten it, or we don't really know. I mean, we've had some staff that have had it. Has everybody in your family been okay?
My sister had it,
Really?
but
Was she
she recovered.
hit her hard, or was it a lighter case?
She probably about 3 weeks to a month it took her to recover.
So this is real then. You're not somebody that thinks this is,
Yes.
that we're overreacting to it, or this is crazy, it's not a big deal.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
So are people really wearing masks all day when they come back? I mean, I think you're people that make sure, are you like the mask police? Are you going around like making sure that people are doing it right?
actually James Sandon. He's been really but yeah, I know James Elder made sure that there's plenty of masks, but yes, everybody's been wearing their masks.
Yeah, and so that hasn't been hard for clients coming back to kind of remember, or to.
Some of them need a few reminders, but if you remind them, they will put it back on.
What do you think's going to happen next, Jen? Where do you think we go from here? What's your general feeling like? Are we going to see more people coming back? Are we going to? What are you thinking? What are people saying? What are the staff saying? I don't know. What's your thoughts?
We actually have a few more coming back tomorrow. They're starting tomorrow, and I think we have some more starting next week as well. So it seems that a lot of them are willing and ready to come back.
Yeah,
So
and these are clients, like from our residential programs, or more people living at home.
People who live at home.
They are. So more
Yes.
coming. So was that a new thing? Is that after they just saw Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or what's calling them to come back now?
I think a lot of them, now that they've seen, some of the virtual programs with the tours, they're feeling more confident that they see the cleaning going on. We've done some virtual programming from the building, so they see that we are all here, and they see that everything seems to be safe, so they're feeling more comfortable.
Do you, as a mother, as a somebody that's very capable and like very aware of a lot of things, do you feel that people are safe coming back? I know it's a loaded question. I hope the answer is yes. I don't know what you're going to say 3 months ahead of time. But do you feel like families can trust what we're doing?
Yes, I think that the cleaning process here alone, and the sanitizing has been incredible.
Yeah. You know, I just went to the men's room and it's, you know, it was like 2:30 or something. And Joke was in there cleaning again. And
Yes.
he's I don't know how many hours of work, hours a day he works, but every time I turn around, even late in the evening, sometimes he's here doing stuff. So I see it with my own eyes that the cleaning's happening, and it's going on all day. The people are spraying stuff down and that backpack and all that stuff, right? It's really happening.
Yeah, he's been doing it in the rooms as well. So when one group leaves the room before our next group goes, like if they're going into the art room, um, as soon as that one group leaves the art room, he's in there spraying down the art room before the next group comes in.
Is your job harder now than it was before?
I don't think it's harder. It's definitely a little interesting than it was before. It's just a little twist, but I don't think it's that much harder.
That's another thing people say when they don't want to give a negative answer. Is that that's different, or it was interesting? You know, both are things. A nice way of saying. But you've got fewer people to keep track of, right? But there's just so much more, you know, so much more importance placed upon, you know, cleaning and the, you know, protective, you know, equipment and all the rest. So, do you have enough equipment in the rooms? Are you?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. You've got a lot. We got a lot.
Yeah, we have a lot of PPE equipment.
So what would you say to a parent that might be on the fence out there that really wants their son or daughter to get back into things, but maybe just is still a little bit, you know, worried? What would you say to them?
I mean, there's no guarantee on
No.
anything.
No.
It's definitely, you know, everybody knows that there is a little risk involved, but I think that we are doing a pretty good, we're doing a really great job with the cleaning, the sanitizing, making it safe. Everyone is wearing masks. We're doing everything possible to make it healthy here. So I think that they should feel comfortable because we do have everything in place.
What are you, this is an extra question, the last one I promise, I think, maybe not, probably will be. What are your kids doing? Are they going back to school? What are you knowing? What are you thinking about that? Or do you want them to go back? Do you think that it's not safe? What are you thinking?
So my school is going full remote to start.
They are.
They
Okay.
are. However, I do have a son with autism in the special needs program.
Right, I
So
know that.
I'm doing a virtual town hall tonight with the schools because they're trying to fight for the special needs programs to open back up, even though the schools aren't opening. So we're not sure where we're going with that yet.
Wow.
But yeah, to start, it's full remote.
Full remote. And you think that's the best thing probably given what we know, or?
I think because their classrooms sizes are big.
Mhm.
But also, I mean, I don't know, socialize. The homeschool is tough. The remote learning is pretty tough on all the kids.
It's
They don't get to
wretched.
see anyone.
It's nobody should be home that much. I mean, we know this to be true. Jen, you are a pleasure. Thank you so much for everything you continue to do. I'll never forget that time out on one of the cruises for the Club 50 and talking to you and some other stuff. It's just, and you're just really, you're a treasure. And I'm sure everything Mike Edwards says is 100% accurate, that we would be in deep trouble without you. And I know you mean so much to the families and the clients that are coming back. Thank you for everything you're doing to keep people safe, for being on today. And you were terrific. Thanks so much.
And thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. Okay. All righty. That was great. I have a great big smile on my face because of that. I appreciate it. See you, Jen. Okay. Next up. Oh my goodness. Anna Dearborn, all the way from Westford, Massachusetts. Developmental specialist. Oh man, where do I start with Anna? I mean, maybe she scurried off. I did see her before this started, so she looked gorgeous.
Here.
Hi, Anna Dearborn.
Hi, how are you?
I asked you before when you were kind of we were in the so-called green room waiting before the broadcast if you wanted to kill me when you found out. You said yes, you did want to kill me. We know that you are one of those people that just work so hard. You're just very happy to be behind the scenes. You just do your job. You are the grease that moves so much of the moving parts up in Westford. And you you began there when the program first opened many, 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 many years ago. You were one of the first cohort of staff that at the time had been part of the Martin Center at Sylvan Road that agreed to go up to Westford. And part of that's because you live in the area
Right.
up there. You are, well, I wanna hear about what you've done, but here's the thing, you've been with us for 22 years.
Yeah. Yep. Long
That's a
time.
long time.
Yeah, long
That is
time.
such a long time. And you've seen this organization through so many different sort of iterations of how we've grown and how we, sort of our services have evolved and the number of relationships you've had with people. This has got to be about as different a set of circumstances that you've ever seen since your history here, I would think. And I wonder if you're being up in Westford now, today was your first, yesterday is when you had your first folks back. Is that right?
Well, I came in today. Today was my first day. We opened yesterday, but today was my first day back.
I'm almost wondering if it's a little bit like it was in those early days when you opened.
There was nobody here. I know. It was different.
You like that a little bit? Yeah, I bet it does. It seems strange.
Yeah.
What was today like? Or wait. Let's, because I haven't talked to you for so long. And by the way, I wanted to say, when I was talking to Judy Miskell a little bit before, I don't know if you saw our town hall when I mentioned that you were going to be on, and I was like, oh, I'm so excited. I'm excited about everybody, but you're somebody I don't get to see all that often. But when I was saying something to Judy Miskell, she says, oh, I'm so excited to see Anna. I'm so excited to see you. So she sends her love. Where Judy's watching someplace out there, but she says she's happy to see you. So what's this been like for you during the past since March? We closed our doors. Everybody was home suddenly. You're doing lots of different things, probably behind the scenes. So what's it been like in the past few months?
Yeah. Well, I do the wellness calls once a week, and I get to talk to, the parents or the group home managers. I got to, keep in touch with the group home managers and got to know them. I didn't know them before, so we're on a first name basis. And if they had any questions, any concerns, they could always call me, and the same with the parents. So I kept pretty busy with them during the week, other than the one day a week that I would make the calls to them. So yeah.
Were the parents probably having to hear from you, or?
Yeah, and I mean, they were feel free to call me anytime too. I mean, any time of the day they would call with any concerns or questions about, when we would open and how things were going to be. And, whenever I got information, I would let them know. So, yeah, but it was nice to see today when I came in, a few of the clients that came back that lived at home, and it was nice to see them. And, the parents wrote notes to me, and it was nice.
Did they? What kinds of things did they say?
Well, just that they were happy to, be back, and that yesterday they had such a great day, and when they came home, it was just so different. They had a good day, and they were with Jara. I mean, Jara's working with me, and we've been together for so long. So, they were with Jara yesterday, and they were happy to see her. So, yeah, it was nice. It was nice.
What
But
if
it is
Jara's
nice to
watching
get
too?
back. I know it's going to take a while to get back to normal, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
I was gonna say, Jara watching someplace. She's watching her friend Anna on the show today. I don't
Who
know.
is?
Jara, is she
Oh,
watching?
yeah, well, she's here. She's probably out in the smart board. I told them I wanted her to be my partner because we've worked together for so long, and we've done everything together. So I thought she should, be with me. But
Well, then you would have to have your mask on. I wouldn't be able to see.
well, that's okay. We'd be over there, and I'd be over here, but yeah.
We love Jara too. I'll make sure.
Everybody, Brian, everybody here, everybody. I missed everybody, So
We another organization in Massachusetts opened their workshop. I think it was last week, maybe, or it might have been toward the end of the previous week. And they described the day when the clients were coming back in. It was almost like Christmas Day. It was so exciting to see people, and people were so excited to see them. Was there feeling a little bit of a, sort of a party atmosphere? Was it?
Yeah. And I mean, the first thing you really wanted to do was hug everybody, but you couldn't. And the clients, they don't understand, and that's what they want to do. They wanted to get up close and hug, or but It
What
was
do you
hard.
tell people when they try to hug you? What do you say?
Well, the ones I have are nonverbal. You just have to, either put your hand out, shake, or, but yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult.
Now, I have a memory of you, and I'm not sure if it was 2014 or 15. You'll tell me, but it was one of the two years that we had the walk up in Westford, and you had your grandbaby.
Right.
Was that right? What
Yeah, I
year?
remember that. Yeah, and you took pictures of them,
I
which is,
did.
and you gave me the pictures in a frame. That was really nice. I
Oh,
still have them.
you do?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was trying to find that picture, and I wanted to see if Kevin or Brett could help me show it, but I was running around as usual. I leave everything the last minute, so I didn't have the picture. But I remember just the joy on your face of holding that she's a sweet little girl there. Now you have three
I have
grandkids,
3 now. Yeah, I have 3. Yeah.
and the last one you've had, it was you haven't had a chance to see as much of that one, right? I mean,
Yeah, well, in the very beginning when this all started, I didn't see any of the grandchildren,
yeah.
they kept our distance. And then, as the weather got better, we did meet each other outside, social distancing. But, now we hug and, we're close to them. So I just hope
Are you?
things get better. So,
And nobody in your family has gotten sick that really?
well, actually, my daughter's father-in-law, in March, he got COVID and he was at Brigham and Women's for a month. And he
Oh
was
my
on a
God.
ventilator. I mean, they didn't think
Oh,
he was going to make it, but he pulled through. I mean, you can't thank the doctors and nurses, you
oh
know,
my
but
God.
he did. He made it and he's fine now. He's fine. It was a miracle, but that was a rough time. That was tough.
I hear stories about different parts of the country where they're having these COVID parties
I know it's
and
crazy.
I don't know what my, I mean,
You know,
who's out there that who thinks this is a big scam or something, that thinks this is something to be taken lightly. We've lost 5 clients,
I know, I know. And like I say, unless you know somebody or had somebody in your family that has been through this, you don't realize you have to be careful, you know.
You're somebody who I would imagine, knowing you, as I do a little bit, you're very by the book, very
Mhm.
sort of trustworthy. You do what you're supposed to do. You probably follow the law. You follow the rules. You're a good citizen. What? I mean, did you stay at home? Like probably you were
I
probably not.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Well, my husband still went to work, but he's in the construction, so he really wasn't too close to anybody, but still, he wore the gloves, the mask and everything. But, when he came home, I made him, clean very well. And I didn't go out for almost a month. I was afraid to
Yeah.
go out,
Yeah.
and yeah, it was pretty, and especially, after, my daughter's father-in-law went through that, it's
bet.
scary. It's
It
scary.
drives it home, doesn't it? Because it really makes you seem real. That that this is not just something that
Oh, I know.
it's made up. So
Mhm.
you feel that it's time to bring people back? Did it
Yeah,
seem?
I was ready, and I think it is time to come back. We just have to be very careful. And so when I came back today, everything was just in place, and all the precautions we take. We're really doing a great job here. So, and
Were
like I
you
said,
able
the
to watch?
parents let their kids come back here. That they have trust and faith in us too. So
Were you able to watch the videos ahead of time to see like what the environment would look like? Or
I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
I
It
thought
was
the team
hard
did
to
a really,
imagine, but now that I'm
yeah.
in here,
I thought
so.
the team did a great job in getting the environment set up properly. Didn't you? Weren't you impressed when you?
Yeah, I was. I know when I came in and, everything looks great, cleaned, everything is, like I said, in good order. So nobody has to worry.
So I asked Jen, what happens next? Where do you think we go from here? What do you think is going to happen for getting some more people back, or what do you
Mm,
think the process is going to look like?
I don't know. Like I said, I've been doing, the wellness calls, and most of the parents want the children to come back. But the group homes, I think they're just, I don't know, they're just taking their time, but, like I said, the parents, I think, are really happy to have, your kids come back.
Mhm. Well, to any family member that's watching, if you're on the fence, Anna Dearborn is about as good as it gets for making sure that people are going to be
Take
wearing
care.
masks and doing everything you're supposed to do. You do not seem like the type of person that's going to cut a corner
No.
or no, I don't think so either. And so I think you're somebody that's good to have on the front lines. And I'm just from hearing you, I think that you feel pretty good about
Mhm.
families that they can trust us, and that we're going to do. I mean, like we said, nothing's entirely risk free. I mean, when you set foot out of the house in the morning,
Right.
something could happen to you. And so part of our world is about the dignity of risk. We say it's part of what makes us human. If you're in an underground bunker and you can't move anywhere, well, then you maybe are a little safer. But when you exit the house, you have to, you do take on some risk, and we want people back. Anna, thank you for being on today. I know it probably a bit of your, just decisiveness to say, oh, I'll do it. I was so pleased I thought you were going to say you weren't going to do it. And so it meant so much to me. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that just are delighted to see you. You look great. We're happy to have you back. And I'm so glad knowing that you're up in Westford, that our families can really trust that we're doing the very best that we can to make sure people are safe. And anything you want to say, like in closing?
Just thank you for having me. Thank
And I'm
you.
glad it's over,
Nice
right?
to see you. Nice to talk to you. And
So
come up to
good.
Westford and visit sometime.
And I'll do that. I promise I will. Are you going to be there on Friday?
Yep, I will. That's
Maybe I
tomorrow.
can stop by. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe I can stop by tomorrow.
Okay.
My
We'll
way
be
up.
here.
Be good to see you. But we won't hug. I hate to tell you.
I know. All right, Dan.
All right,
Thank you.
Anna. Thanks for
Take care.
being here.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Very good. She did an extraordinary job, don't you think? Yeah. And I know that when somebody says, we have some people like like our next guest that probably just sounded nervous about being, in front of the camera. And then we have some people that are a little bit more hesitant. It does take some effort to be here. So we're so grateful when people say yes to the call for service. All right, let's bring up our third and final guest today. This will be his second appearance on the Unit Forum. This is Justin Belmonte. He's the day services, senior day services manager. He was the last one because I got his title. I wasn't quite sure about his title, but he does a lot for this organization. We had you on. It was, do you remember what it was? It was early. You were one of the first couple of people we had on.
It was early on. Yep, I do. And
we know we had a chance to talk about what it's been like, what it was like for you to be at home. You at the time, I think Lucas was 3 months old. 3 months,
yep.
Right? Or
3 months. Yeah. Yep, 3 months old. Talked about being a dad and going through this.
Oh, was it Father's Day? Was it Father's Day? No, it wasn't Father's Day. It
wasn't Father's Day. No.
How about you being a dad? And your wife Lindy was there with you because she was at home.
Yep.
You're doing telecommuting or working from home. I think she's since gone back to work. Is that right? Did she or no?
No. She's still working from home. She actually just got word that her office is projected not to open up until January of 2021. So, yep.
Wow, that is extraordinary. And now I would think Lucas is starting to push these months, or what is it? It's not quite
7 months. 7 months. Yeah, 7 months. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, you came out to talk to us, and just I remember you talking about what it was like to to be at home. And at the time, I think you were talking about how you were still going in for a time, because while we were trying to figure out, do we close all the way, or we keeping our clients home, and you talked about what it was like coming back and getting all your clothes and making sure that you were completely free. And I think your parents, Lindy's parents, hadn't had a chance to spend as much time with baby, right? With Lucas. Have you been seeing more of them, or how's it been working for you?
We've seen more. We've had the great opportunity of having my mother help share in the child care duties with Lucas a couple of days a week. And then we also had my mother-in-law, my wife's mother, do the same for a short time. But that she had to go back to work. So that had to stop. But they have both grandmothers have spent time with Lucas, and that itself was magical, and just, you know, anything that we could ask for during this time, it was great. So
Well, that, and you still have a job.
yes,
So
the lights are still on.
what?
The lights are still on.
Lights are still on. Where
Yep.
are you right now? Where are you?
I'm in Westford. I'm in Westford right now.
So when we talk about the reopening and people coming back, it's looking a little different for your program, the Martin Center over at 300 West Cummings Park, because for now we decided, and typically many of the people that come to attend your program in a normal circumstances tend to be more medically fragile. They tend to have more, you know, medical complications. So we pretty much expected that we'd see fewer people, returning early. And so how many people have you had back? And they're coming now to our home office at New Boston Street, right?
Correct. They're coming to the first floor over at New Boston Street. Our projected number to come back Monday was 4, but 3 actually came back Monday. And then as the days have gone on, we are down to 2. So
Really? What was the third one? Did they?
I think, you know, and I think earlier you and Jen touched a little bit on this. This person, when she came back, I think she envisioned the Martin Center of old, or the day program of old, and I think when she saw, just for the short time, what was being offered or what was in front of her, I think immediately she began to have reservations, and she just wanted to continue to be home, and she felt that she had a little bit more freedom, or a little more things to do at home. So
Well, you think about it, really, for the Martin Center people, it's going to be a double challenge, because you're coming back to, you know, all the, you know, new protocols of, you know, going one way down hallways and wearing the masks and all of the, you know, personal protection equipment and all the rest. But they're doing it in a space that's not even familiar, because this is a space they don't even know. It's not like they're going over to 300 West Cummings, right? It's
correct.
completely different. So it really remains to be seen, like, how many of the day habs come back. And, you know, this is getting in the weeds way too much, but the way we're funded, you know, our day programs through DDS are funded one way, and then those the day habs through TMA and Medicaid, it's a different, the reimbursement structure has been different. And we're still really trying to sort out how that's going to look long term, and it's been a little bit more complicated with those folks, as far as helping vendors to kind of you know, bill for an amount that they need in order to have the staff on. You've got something interesting that I've seen. I don't have anything in front of me, so this is more, you know, just sort of what I've heard, but you've got a number of staff that have really leaned into their residential assignments. It seems that these are, I'm thinking of, and I hope I don't get this wrong, but I know Joel, we talked to him on this, you know, maybe a few weeks back, and he's just a rock star over at Mill Street, and he's just been doing so much over there. Did I hear that Michelle Denny is someplace? Is she at Mill Street?
Yep, Michelle Denny is over at Middlesex Ave.
And these are people that early on, you know, they could have, you know, said, oh, I don't want to work residential, or, you know, I'm not going to do that. But they just went right into it, and by all accounts are doing really, really well, as far as not just, you know, taking up space and biding, you know, counting time, but really, you know, performing quite well. Is this what you hear?
Yep. I agree. A number of my staff from the Martin Center, and I think, you know, as a whole from NuPath, have been great. Have been great at the residential homes.
Do you know who were some of the other ones that I hadn't thought of that are doing more long list?
It's a long list, actually. Kathy Downing.
Yeah.
is over at Waltham Street with Lynette MacGyver, and
Yeah.
they're there, caring for Jill and Marianne
Yeah.
and Annie, and they're doing a fantastic job. We have Rita Dorsonville. She's over at West Street with Alice, and they're doing a fantastic job over there. It's nice to see the transition. There was a lot of unknown, and there were a lot of questions early on. But as you said, the staff, they were able to jump right in.
I think that says a lot about the program. I think it says a lot about the staff there. Some of the staff that you mentioned have been around a long time, and it makes me feel really good to know that they saw a need, that they were willing to, because it takes, you're used to one thing. Let's face it, after you get a certain age, you have to have your whole routine upended. It's not most of us seek out. We're creatures that like routines and knowing what's coming next and not surprises. And I don't like surprises. Some people like surprises, but I think that for a staff person to say, I'm used to working Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 4:30 or 8 to 4, and then suddenly having to work 3 to 11 and maybe some weekend shifts. That is not just nothing. That is a significant sort of adjustment, I think, in adapting to a whole different set of circumstances. And so those staff, I really want to take my hats off. I have a lot of respect for that team of people.
Absolutely. I think people build, we get into these routines and we build our life around this, the routines, our family, the way we operate, the way we go about our week, our day. And then to have everything flipped upside down, and then now have to pick up pieces wherever we can to make ends meet. I think as time goes on, it shows a mettle or a kind of resiliency that I think a lot of people have that in some other way may not have shown or people doubt it, but our staff have done a fantastic job, and I can't say enough about them.
That was very well said. It was very well said. That sounded like a speech. That was very, very well said. I could say that the staff that early on embraced this, leaned into this, said, I'm going to do what my company needs me to do, and I'm going to take these shifts. It's turning out more and more that they were very smart to do this, because, we are, and I don't want to get too far ahead of myself and announcing anything or saying anything, but we're, as an organization, we are far from being over from what is going to be some very difficult adjustments and maybe some even decisions that we're going to have to make as far as what does 2021 look like for us. Part of this exercise in bringing people back, if on day one you only had 4 people back and day 2 it was 3, how many people do you usually have over there at a given day?
On a given day, it's hard to say, but we have an overall census of 78 people.
So we're a long ways away from 78. I know that not all 78 are there every day, but and when we look at the populations in some of our different locations, and yours being one where people tend to be more medically fragile and involved, we can't even imagine when it will be that you'd have 50% of those people back. And so we're really, as we plan for the next 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, we're having to make some tough decisions. And the fact of the matter is we've got more staff than we need in our day services. Plain and simple. We don't need all the staff that you once had over there when you only got 4 people coming back. And so I think our goal is going to be to try to really look at the list of people that, list of staff that we have, and just once again, make a bid for anybody that has not yet started back to work, and especially taking residential, which we need help there. We sure don't want to be paying overtime at a time like this, and we don't want to be getting relief staff to come in So if there are vacancies, that it's once again going to try to appeal to a staff person. If you're out there and you've not yet, found a, a niche or a way to kind of get back into showing up for your work, for your job every day, and unemployment is not going to last forever. And, this is going to be a dark time for our nation, as the unemployment rate is going to be really high. And, there was a day when if you were fired from a job in human services, you walk across the street, you could be employed by 5 p.m. at someplace else. That's not going to be the case any longer. Because most agencies are seeing a huge contraction in their service delivery. And I mean, there's organizations all over the place that are discontinuing leases and closing, shuttering, buildings and getting rid of vehicles that are part of the transportation route. And it's just a fact of life. This is where we are right now. And so as we still need help, and there's still people still shifts residentially, that I just maybe really proud to hear the long list of staff that you had that had just said, hey, I'm going to do this. And Joel, when we talked to him, not only did he just do it, he brought a kind of exuberant joy, with him, and there's a big difference of just going through the motions and then saying, hey, if I got to do this, I'm going to do my best, and I'm going to make my mark here, and I'm going to do it, in a way that I can be proud of. So
Correct. Yep.
So Justin, you're fantastic. I really want to thank you again for all you're doing over there. And you're in Westford now today, because obviously we didn't need you here for the 3 people that were here, but they do need you in Westford, and your willingness to drive out there and to just show up for duty and to be wherever we need you. It just means a lot to all of us, and want to thank you for that.
Of course, these are my old stomping grounds. I started my time in day services here, so it was nice to come back.
That's right. And you, by the way, I think I didn't say this, but maybe we did the last time. Since we talked to you last, you've had your 10th year anniversary on June 24th.
Yep, I did. Yep, I was actually talking about that with my wife the other day. We were talking about how long we've been at our current company. So.
And how long has she been with hers?
She's been with hers for 3 years, and she's loved every minute of it. And but I had to boast a little bit and say 3 years is nothing compared to 10. So.
Hell yeah. And I can't think what it is that you've got coming, but I'm sure you've got. Is it it's a clock, or is it you get something special at 10 years? That's all I know. And at some point, we're all back together again. I'll be handing it to you, and we'll do an awkward handshake, and we'll go, so somebody can take a picture of us, and right.
I'll be happy for a continued chance to do my job and serve the folks that we serve. So
10 years is a long time, and we're very, very lucky to have you. So, and you know what I'm going to miss? I'm going to miss, well, I don't know if we did it last year, but the cookout for the Martin Center, being out in those hot grills with the smoke coming in our face.
Yeah, the change of direction.
You're probably like, you look at those grills for 3 years, you're probably saying, you remember what it used to be.
Are those hamburgers cooked?
Yeah. They should have little things. They're nice and juicy. The nurses back out to us. These aren't cooked. Hey, best of luck to you. Thank you so much for everything you're doing. Continued success at home with that beautiful little boy and your wife and everything else. And stay healthy and well, and we'll talk to you again soon, okay?
Thank you very much.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. All right, guys. We are nearing the end now of another great Unity Forum. It's good to see our guests today. If you're a family member out there, you can see that we've got some really quality people that are here to welcome and greet your family member as they return. And, it doesn't have to be this week. It could be next week if it needs a little bit more time to kind of get used to the idea. If you wanted to come yourself and maybe have a walkthrough or tour just to see it before your kid came, that certainly would be something we could do as well. And I just, try to end this on an upbeat, positive note, but I just want to say again that we're continuing to hear increases in Massachusetts. So I beg you, urge you, implore you to continue to follow all of the social distancing guidelines, wearing your mask, use your hand sanitizer, all the things, because we got to keep this thing under control if we're going to continue to open. We don't want to hear that the governor is, pulled us back and brought us back into a lower phase that would prohibit us from doing this when we've come so far already. But know that as long as we're able to, we're going to continue to be here, sanitizing the hell out of everything and keeping the place safe for your kids. We got this together. We'll get through this. Thanks again to Brett Riley and Kevin Tucker for a successful Unity Forum. Who needs Greg Morris anyway, right? And I wish you all the best, and we'll talk to you next week. Okay, guys, be good. Bye.